Hello and welcome back. In this Black Excellist presentation, we will highlight the 30 museums and destinations for African American history and culture.
Welcome to blackexcellist.com, the site where we celebrate Black excellence, opulence, and affluence. Our mission is to inspire you as we enlighten you.
You don't have to wait until Black History Month to celebrate African Americans' accomplishments and contributions to this country. Though most of it was done involuntarily, our blood, sweat, tears, and lives literally built this country. Of course, there is more to Blacks in America than slavery and Jim Crow. We're inventors, writers, award winners, record breakers, politicians, medical professionals, entrepreneurs, artists, activists, musicians, and so much more. There is no shortage of museums dedicated to civil rights in America, set in spots where pivotal points in the movement's history occurred. So if you love learning about the history and culture and have a love for traveling, then these destinations are for you. In this original Black Excellist 3-part series, we will be featuring 30 museums and destinations to visit not only for Black History Month, but 365 days a year. So without further ado, let's get started. 11. Gantt Center for African American Arts. The Harvey B. Gantt Center for African American Arts and Culture is an art and cultural center located in Charlotte, North Carolina. Named for Harvey B. Gantt, who was the first Black student at Clemson University and Charlotte's first Black mayor, the building's interior is a nod to the biblical story of Jacob's Ladder, while its exterior evokes West African textile patterns and quilt designs from the Underground Railroad era. Aside from great art, the center hosts talks, films, and plays. 12. Memphis Rock and Soul Museum. Located on Beale Street, the Memphis Rock and Soul Museum originally began as a research project of the Smithsonian Institution that resulted in the Smithsonian's first permanent exhibition outside of Washington, D.C. and New York. The museum tells the critical story of the musical pioneers who overcame racial and socioeconomic obstacles to create the music that changed the cultural complexion of the world. Although Americans of all races are lauded here, the inclusion of the relationship of Memphis soul to the 1930s sharecropper roots, as well as the city's civil rights movement, lend a poignant backdrop. The 7-gallery museum features audio-visual programs, MP3 songs, historical artifacts, and exhibits that give you the opportunity to hear the music, read the stories, and watch films highlighting Memphis's music influence and inspiration that continues today. 13. Black American West Museum. What started as an ode to Black cowboys has grown to include tales and artifacts of African Americans who made their way west to forge new lives, whether driven by professional or personal circumstances. Located in the former home of Colorado's first female African American physician, Justina Ford, the museum is packed with photos and artifacts. This small museum provides a window into the migration of African Americans to the West, including a look at their contributions during the pioneer era. According to museum statistics, 1 in 3 Colorado cowboys were African American. The museum also showcases an eye-opening exhibit on the Deerfield Colony, an exclusively African American settlement in northern Colorado. 14. California African American Museum. The 44,000 square foot museum showcases African American paintings, photographs, film, sculpture, historical documents, and artifacts, while also heralding contemporary themes with modern African American artwork. CAM's permanent collection consists of over 4,000 objects, ranging from the 1800s to the present. The collection encompasses 19th century landscape paintings, as well as contemporary mixed media reflections on cultural and political events. CAM's deepest holdings include art made or connected to African Americans in California and in the Western United States. However, the museum also has significant works of contemporary art from the African diaspora, including Haiti, Brazil, and Jamaica, as well as traditional African art from Western, Central, and Sub-Sahara Africa. 15. National Memorial for Peace and Justice. This is the nation's first memorial dedicated to the legacy of enslaved Black people, people terrorized by lynching, African Americans humiliated by racial segregation and Jim Crow, and people of color burdened with contemporary presumptions of guilt and police violence. Set on a 6-acre site, the memorial uses sculpture, art, and design to contextualize racial terror used to intimidate and control African Americans for hundreds of years. The 6-acre Alabama site holds 805 hanging steel rectangles in the shape of coffins, each representing one of the U.S. counties where a documented lynching took place. The memorial was conceived with the hope of creating a sober, meaningful site where people can gather and reflect on America's history of racial inequality.
We are the largest community of Black excellence enthusiasts in the world. Secure your membership by subscribing to our channel today so that you will become the first to know when we release our next featured video.
16. Motown Museum. Tens of thousands of visitors pass through Hitsville, USA, home to the Motown Museum each year to experience the story of how Berry Gordy's vision turned into one of the largest, most successful record companies of all time, and how the music, the Motown sound, captured the hearts of young people, not only in America but across the globe. Visitors come to stand in Studio A, where their favorite artists and groups recorded much-loved music. Visitors also have the opportunity to view the restored upper flat, where Berry Gordy lived with his young family during the company's earliest days. Home to an extensive array of Motown artifacts, photographs, and other memorabilia, the museum's mission is to preserve the legacy of Motown Record Company and serve as a testimony to Motown's legacy and to the charisma, talent, and staying power of the music and talented artists who made it. Just recently, the museum announced that it will undergo a $50 million expansion. 17. National Pullman Porter Museum. This national monument and first Black labor museum presents and interprets content intended to educate the public on the impact the union had on organized labor as well as America's modern-day civil rights movement. The exhibits pay tribute to A. Philip Randolph, a great humanitarian and influential African-American leader who helped redefine American labor. The museum also honors and reveres the service and dedication of the hundreds of African-American men who worked as porters on the trains of the Pullman Car Company. Stories of their experience on and off the segregated trains are detailed in this intriguing museum. The accounts and artifacts also explain the political climate of the time, as well as the formation of unions, like the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters. 18. The Buffalo Soldiers National Museum. The goal of the Buffalo Soldier Museum is to interpret, articulate, collect, display, and preserve historical artifacts, documents, videos, prints, and other historical memorabilia, which details the history of the brave men and women who overcame extreme adversity while gallantly fighting the great American wars. African Americans have served proudly in every American military conflict, from the Civil War through World War II and beyond. The Buffalo Soldiers National Museum provides fun, interactive multimedia exhibits, reenactments, and workshops that illustrate their story, their unsurpassed courage and patriotism, and their valiant service to this country. 19. Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site. The Tuskegee Airmen of World War II, the first squadron of Black military airmen, weren't considered equals in the eyes of the law, but that didn't stop them from defending the country. This National Park Service site in Tuskegee, Alabama, details their training and the role they played in desegregating the military. The museum also opens new insights into some of the struggles faced by those daring young men and women as they reached out for full acceptance as United States citizens. Visitors will appreciate the variety of indoor and outdoor experiences that honor the men and women all over the country who served as Red Tails. 20. Whitney Plantation. The Whitney Plantation Historic District is the only plantation museum devoted to slavery in the southern United States. The museum, comprising main portions of the 2,000-acre plantation property, contains imaginative exhibits and original art, including life-size sculptures of children. Visitors are guided through the grounds while learning about the lives of African Americans forced to cultivate sugar and rice on this plantation from 1752 to 1865. 16 original structures, including the Big House and 2 slave cabins, remain on site. As a site of memory, Whitney Plantation features several memorials dedicated to the enslaved people who were forced to live and work here and throughout Louisiana.
We appreciate the fact that you stayed with us until the end. Thank you for spending time with us, and don't forget to like this video. Also, make sure you subscribe so that you never miss a video. Bye for now. We will see you tomorrow.